Here we observe a woman from Brooklyn who has somehow found herself in a Portuguese baking class. She has travelled over 3,000 miles to challenge a pastry that Portugal has spent centuries perfecting. Confidence extremely high. Experience, we'll circle back to that. For someone who doesn't eat eggs, she's suddenly very invested in their structural integrity. Separating egg yolks was never on her vision board. The irony is not lost on her. She came to Portugal to make a pastry whose main ingredient is something she actively avoids. Ah yes, the instructor has arrived. If first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Enter the pastry guardian angel. She has the patience of a saint. Every class deserves a hero. Notice how calmly she explains the technique. Without judgment, without panic, just pure Portuguese patience. And suddenly every step made sense. The confidence has returned. A nod of approval. The highest honor a beginner can receive. The instructor approves. Confidence has increased by approximately 87%. For one brief moment, she looked like she knew exactly what she was doing. Validation has been received. She will now ride this emotional high for the remainder of the class. Now she's ready for anything. She stirs with determination, mostly because nobody told her how long this was supposed to take. At this point, she's simply trusting the process and hoping the process knows where it's going. Like every good student, she nods in agreement. She has officially entered the copy whoever looks the most confident phase. Confidence is free. Observe the intense concentration. She has entered what scientists refer to as "don't mess this up in front of everybody" mode. Just when she thinks she's finished, the instructor unlocks another level. Apparently, greatness requires several more steps. This is the part we call trust the process. One of the best ingredients today wasn't the egg. It was the people. There's something special about sitting in a room with strangers who all became friends over pastry. Now comes the flavor. A little lemon zest. A little sugar. And suddenly the kitchen smells like happiness. Now comes the true test. Rolling pastry dough. She applies just enough pressure, based entirely on vibes. She has absolutely no idea if this is the correct thickness. But she's committed now. Notice the face of deep concentration. This is the same expression she uses when parallel parking. Every roll is accompanied by a silent prayer. The international sign for "Girl, let me help you." Nothing humbles a grown woman faster than an instructor gently saying, "Almost." At this point, she's less of a baker and more of a very committed observer. Confidence extremely high. Experience? Now, we all know the answer to that. Now we're getting somewhere. Every scoop is carefully placed. Too much filling and chaos. Too little and disappointment. Looks like I may have gotten carried away here. And now it's ready to bake. Now she waits. The longest 15 minutes known to mankind. She has checked the oven approximately 17 times in the last 3 minutes. The best way to get over one pastry is by making another. Portugal said, since you're already here, let's make another one. Vacation calories don't count, especially when you've earned them. She demonstrates each movement with effortless grace. Watch closely, because she makes it look suspiciously easy. The strategy today is simple. Copy everything. Every movement is copied with remarkable dedication. Accuracy remains under review. Perfection in the making. Every masterpiece needs a finishing touch. Today, it's the sauce. And now, the finishing touch. A light dusting of cinnamon. Because elegance is in the details. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Pastel de Nata. Observe the golden tops, the delicate layers, the overwhelming urge to immediately eat all of them. And here is the final surprise. And now, the best part. Not eating the pastries, sharing them. And now, the moment of truth, the grand finale. One bite, and suddenly every step made sense. This is the closest she's come to inner peace all day. The pastry never stood a chance. This explains why people wait in line for these. She arrived in Lisbon as a tourist, and left convinced she could open a bakery. Will she ever make these again once she's back in Brooklyn? One may never know, but for one glorious afternoon, she was Portugal's newest pastry chef. 10 out of 10. Would absolutely cross the Atlantic for pastry again. If you're visiting Lisbon, check out this class. Everything is linked below.